Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Oh, okay, so the webinar is going to be recorded again, so make sure that your parents are okay with your videos being on, just because we will be recording this. So if you need to like pause and ask them real quick, feel free to do that. Today we have with us Murphy, who we're really excited to start us off with this speaker series this semester. Murphy works at Amazon in Austin, Texas. She does product management, and she's going to chat a lot more about kind of what she does as her job, but we're really excited to have her with us. And let's see, I've like forgotten how to introduce these. It's been so long. Socrates or anything I've forgotten? All right, so Murphy, take it away. If you'd like, girls can interrupt you with questions throughout the webinar or submit them in the chat, and we'll just let you know when someone has a question.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I put together a PowerPoint because why not, to help lead the conversation today. And I have a fun little activity for us to do where we'll get to think of some different product ideas and we can share them with each other, and hopefully it'll make for a fun time together. So thank you all for having me. I'm going to try to share my screen right now. Let's try this.
Perfect, we can see it.
Okay, great. And then if I go to present, let's see if it gets big. Okay, everyone can see my screen okay?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about creating your own career path. And so like I said, I am Murphy. I work at Amazon. So I am in a technical role at Amazon, but I do not code day to day. So I know that this group is Girls Who Code. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a technical role that doesn't necessarily require coding. It's obviously a nice benefit. So thought that would be a fun topic for you all, and we'll get to be very creative and talk a little bit about different ideas as we go through. All right, so I'm going to tell you about me, and we're going to talk about what product management is and what a career path could be for that. And then we'll do a little activity. But you guys can interrupt me at any time and let me know if you have any questions, okay? Okay, so a little bit about me. So like I said, my name's Murphy. I am from Wisconsin, but I went to school in Nebraska. So that's why I have the UNL logo there. So I lived in Lincoln for 4 years while going to school, and then I lived in Omaha for a year. Are you all in Lincoln? Where are you all at?
We live in Waverly.
Oh, nice. I know where Waverly is. How about everyone else? You in Lincoln?
I'm in Lincoln, yeah.
Nice. It's great. So then I moved to Texas. So I went to grad school at University of Texas at Austin. So that's why I have the UT logo there. And now I live in Austin. So this is a photo of downtown. I live very close to downtown. So there's a little lake. And so we go paddleboarding and we walk around the lake. I have a cat. His name's Dundee. This is a photo of Dundee. He's a ginormous cat. He loves to hang out, and he loves to hang out with my husband and I. This is my husband, Ben. And Ben and I like to travel. This is us in Mexico. We went to Mexico 2 years ago, and we had a really fun time there. So that's just a little bit about me. See if we can go to the next slide. All right, so my career, what has that looked like? So like I said, I went to school at Nebraska, and my major was in finance and marketing. So finance is obviously learning about stocks and investment, and it's very heavy in math and analytics. And then I had the marketing side. So marketing is very creative, and you put together marketing plans and think about how you can sell a product or you can influence people. So I did finance and marketing. And so I decided after school, I'm going to give finance a try. And so I worked at TD Ameritrade in Omaha. So that's why I lived in Omaha for a little while. And then I went to another finance company in Austin. So I did finance and I did a lot about like stocks and investment. So your parents probably have investment accounts as they get ready to retire. I helped with those, and those ensure that someday when your parents are older, like your grandparents, they don't have to work anymore and they can just enjoy and hang out with you all. So that's what I did. I helped people retire essentially. And now I work at Amazon. So I work for Amazon Web Services. So does anyone know what the cloud is?
Ooh, some of our older students have learned about the cloud in the hardware class. Mackenzie, were you in that class?
Yeah, I think I was. I'm pretty sure.
How would you define the cloud? Do you know what it is?
It's kind of like just this like invisible spot where your information, your data, everything you have like on your phone, like kind of just lives in the cloud, so it's always saved up there. But yeah.
Exactly. Good job, Mackenzie. Yeah, so the cloud is a way that companies are able to build their technology. So previously, what companies had to do is they had to buy these giant pieces of hardware. So these giant machines, and they were loud and they were hot, and you had to make sure that there were fans on them so they didn't overheat and turn off. They were very, very expensive, and companies would just have rooms and rooms of these giant, they're called servers. And that's how companies would ensure that they could have technology running. Well, with Amazon Web Services, now companies don't need to buy that really expensive pieces of equipment. Instead, they can just borrow it and buy it from Amazon. And Amazon houses all of that in these huge, huge warehouses we have. Almost like when you buy something from Amazon.com, it comes from a huge warehouse where robots go and they pick up your stuff and then someone puts it into a box. Somewhat similar, where there's these giant rooms of servers. And so you can go and you can use Amazon Web Services to start a website. You can create new technology. You can do whatever you need for a company's or even an individual. Like you all could go on and create an AWS account, but you don't need to buy these giant servers and these hardware anymore. You can just simply go online and register and spin it up. And it's way cheaper and it's way easier for companies. So that's what I do day to day is I help build technology for these companies to innovate. So a lot of the companies that you use day to day are using Amazon to be able to empower their technology side. Any questions about what Amazon Web Services is or anything about my background? Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the career path and product management because there's no major in college. There's probably no classes you're going to take at school about product management, but there's a ton of product managers. And there's a ton of people that do very similar roles to be able to build things for you. So product managers, we are helping companies figure out what to build. So it can be a physical thing. So there's probably a product manager that figured out how to build a can that was recyclable. There's probably a product manager that figured out how to make my sunglasses. There's hundreds and thousands of product managers that figure out how to build this phone and the software that makes the phone work. So there's all these people that help these different pieces of not just physical things, but also your technology. So how you use like Microsoft Word. How many of you use Microsoft Word and you type your papers in Word? No.
You all use Google Docs now?
Google Docs? Use
Yeah.
that? A product manager builds that. And a product manager is the one that's figuring out what new things to add and how to make sure that it's as good as possible for you when you're using it. That's a product manager. The product manager is figuring out you as a customer, what you need and what you want and how to make it super awesome and how to sell it essentially. So the fun thing about product management, there's no career path. So you can figure out and you can major in whatever you want. So if you want to study English, or you want to study technology and software development, if you want to study finance or marketing like I did, you can take that route, because in product management, it's all about solving problems. So how many of you have had a problem that you've had to solve? Like a tough problem, an easy problem, like a day-to-day? Everyone. We solve problems all day, every day, all the time. Even silly things like, how do I make sure that my cat has food? Or he's hungry, and what time am I going to feed him at? We're always problem solving. So product management is just solving problems, and it's solving problems for customers. So just think about problems that you want to solve, and you can be your own product manager in your day-to-day. Product managers are very similar to entrepreneurs in the sense that you're building something new and you're using different resources to build it. So my husband's an entrepreneur, and he runs a company where they're solving problems for people to be able to get dental care. He has a team that's always solving problems and figuring out how to do things. So to be a product manager, it's very similar. You're just figuring out how to solve problems for a company. So it's a fun way of thinking about product management, is you get to be your own innovator for a company, and you own something and you're able to figure out how to solve that problem for it. So if you think, oh, maybe a product manager role would be cool someday when I go into the career field, guess what? You can be a product manager today, and we'll do an activity to show you kind of what a day-to-day and some of the problems that I try to solve, what that looks like. And lots of different skills are needed. So I talked about technology. Like if you love to code and you really love being hands-on the keyboard and solving problems that way, that's awesome. I work with a ton of product managers that either used to be software engineers or trained to be software engineers. So it's a very common thing to have that background and to be very technical and know how to solve problems that way. I personally know very little code and don't know a lot of coding languages, so I don't do hands-on keyboard, but that's okay. I still know how to speak technology and how to solve those problems. And at Amazon, one thing we do is we write papers. So how many of you write papers for class? You write a book report? Yeah. So do you know how we solve problems at Amazon? We write a paper. So we have an idea and we write. And so that's the way that we communicate and the way that we share information with each other. So if you like writing or you like reading, there's companies that will enable you to do that day to day, and that's really fun. So even if you think, maybe I only want to be an engineer someday, you still have the opportunity to learn a lot of different skills. So all of your classes today that you have, maybe you think, oh, I don't know if I'll ever need to know this again. It's all beneficial. You get to learn really awesome things in your classes from your teachers, and all of those will help someday. And changing your mind is okay and it's normal. So I changed my mind and I decided I didn't want to do finance anymore. I didn't want to work with investments anymore, and I wanted to go into technology. That's okay. It's totally okay to change your mind, and maybe what you want to be today when you grow up will be different tomorrow, and that's a-okay. I know so many adults that still don't know what they want to be when they grow up, and that's normal. That's normal to change your mind and want to continue to grow as a person. So be okay with that, and know that that's just part of the journey of your career and part of the journey of creating your own path. Any questions before we talk a little bit more about product management? Okay. All right, so what's product management? So I talked a little bit about it. So we have 3 different areas I like to think about with product management. You have the customer, so the person that's using your product day in and day out. That's the person that you're really trying to solve the problem for. So you always have to think about, what is the customer problem and what am I trying to solve for them? You're a customer. You have people trying to solve problems for you all day, every day, and you might not even know it. Your teacher is always thinking about how can they solve problems for you as a student. There's people that, like I said, create technology like your Google Drive. Like there's someone that every single day is thinking about how to make that a better experience for you. So you're always a customer, even if you don't know it. And there's people around you that are customers too. Just because you're not paying for a product necessarily or paying for a service doesn't mean that they're not a customer or you're not a customer. So that's just who's using the product as the customer. And then you have the technology side. So technology is really what empowers a product. Everything today uses technology. Even creating this can, there's a lot of technology that goes into this. There's someone that's designing it. There's someone that's thinking about the production and putting thought into the distribution. Everything uses technology today. And then you have the business. So a lot of times we're thinking about how do you make money? How, from the customer side, how do we make sure that this is a good product that we are putting out for our customers? So my day to day is I generally spend time talking to customers. So I'm on the phone and I'm talking to customers. I'm asking questions. I'm asking why. That's always a really powerful question when you're talking to someone and trying to figure out what their problem is, to ask why. And then I go and I talk to the engineering team. So the engineering team, they're the ones that are creating the code. They're creating these awesome products that our customers ultimately use. But as a product manager, it's really important that you're able to tell your engineers why they're building something and what needs to be built. So if you tell them the wrong thing, then potentially they'll create the wrong thing and then your customer won't be happy. So you have to make sure you're communicating and you're able to really articulate why the customer needs something. And then finally, the business. So when we're creating something, we're always thinking about how is this going to make money? How is this going to impact our customers? What are our goals and how do we track our goals? And then what is the marketing behind it? So a product manager gets to touch all of these different areas. We're not siloed into just one area. We get to work with sales, engineers, customers, marketing, all these different teams we get to interact with. So it's a really fun way of bringing people together. And like I said, creating something very fun for our customer and ultimately bringing value to our customers. Any questions? Does this make sense? Do you understand what product management is? Awesome. One thing that's really cool about product management too is you get to be a technology expert in your space, and you get to be, especially as you're thinking about like your career, you get to have a lot of, like I said, touching these different areas. So it's a really fun career and I really love it. And it's, like I said, it's fun to be able to see all of these different areas in motion. So let's do an activity together and let's practice being a product manager tonight. Do y'all want to do that? Does that sound fun? Okay. So a lot of times we use a template and have you ever done like a worksheet? Like how many of you do worksheets in class and you fill out the questions? All of us. So in product management, a lot of times we start with a worksheet, a template. And so we go through and this is how we think about things. So we think about and we think about who's our customer. Who are we creating this for? And then we think about who, like, why are we doing this? Why is this an opportunity? And why do we care? Like, there's a million problems to solve. Why is this important? And then we get to give it a fun name. So we get to call it something and we get to put it in a category. So like a fish is a category or a website's a category. Like there's obviously a million different categories. And so it's just a matter of picking the right category and you get to decide. That's the fun thing about product management is you really get to decide. And I'll show you an example of this before we do it, and it'll make it really easy and it'll be fun. And then you get to say the benefit. So again, the why. Why are we even doing this? And then we get to say unlike. So think about a competitor or someone that already does this in the space. You get to think about how are we different and how are we better? Because business is a lot of times competition, and sometimes customers are already bought into a certain product and you need to win them over. And then finally, you get to say why it's different. So you state the competitor and then you say why it's different. So let me show you an example, and then I have some different scenarios that we can go through, and you all can pick one, or you can think of your own if you have a product idea, and then we can share them all. Okay, so this is an example. I am a traveler and I want to find fun activities for my family so we can really enjoy our vacation together. So I'm just going to fill out the worksheet and I'm just trying to solve for this problem. So again, I'm a traveler, my family is going on vacation, we only have a week together, and I really want to find the best things to do with my family on this trip since we only have a week together. So the for, it's just a traveling family. It states it here. That's the customer, traveling family. Who, and they want to, what's their problem? They want to utilize their time together on the vacation. And I called my product the Fun Optimizer. You could call it whatever you want. And it's just a website that finds activities for vacation spots. So it's a website that I can go on and I can find the best, most fun things in the place that I'm going to with my family. And that it helps families have fun together. So I'm just saying why I'm creating this product. And then unlike, and I'm just saying TripAdvisor. So TripAdvisor is a website. It could be anything you want. You don't have to fill that out if you don't want. Because TripAdvisor, I'm saying, isn't family focused. Again, this is totally an example. TripAdvisor has family things. This is just a fun example to do together. And then I say our product, and it creates recommendations for families. So that's really like the benefit and what's cool and new about your product. Any questions on this? I'll give some examples and then we can do it individually and then share them together. Any questions? Okay. So here's some examples. It's your turn to practice being a product manager. So I put together 3 different problems. You can pick one if you want, or if you have your own idea, you can do that. So you can do whatever you want. So there's 3 different examples. So does everyone have a pen and paper, or do you need to go grab a pen and paper? You need to go grab a pen and paper? Okay, Kenzie, I see you have it. I don't see everyone's name on here. So if you don't have a pen and paper, go grab that real quick and come back.
Now I have a name. Now I'm someone other than Girls Code Lincoln.
Okay, cool. Ryan, I'll probably need your help calling out the girls' names as we go through since I can't see everyone's name because I'm sharing my screen.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, looks like we have everyone back. Okay. So let's go through the 3 different examples, but again, you can totally pick your own and you don't have to go exactly by the template. I'll show the template again after we talk about some examples. So why don't, as we go through these, why don't you jot down which one you want to brainstorm and come up with a fun idea to solve the problem. So the first example, and you only have to pick one problem to solve. And again, you can totally create your own. So just pick one. So these are just examples. If you want to use them, you can. The first one is, as a student, I need to type my papers faster so that I have time to play outside. So the problem is, it takes me forever to write my papers and I want to do it as fast as possible so I have tons of time to play. The second one is, as a dog, I want to be able to play fetch whenever I want so I'm not bored, because my owners are either at school or at work and I want to be able to play fetch and not be sitting around the house bored as a dog. And then the third one is, as a friend, I want to be able to remember my friends' birthdays so that I can give them a gift. So I can never remember when my friends' birthdays are, and I really want to get them a nice present. So I need some way of remembering when my friends' birthdays are. So those are 3 different problems. Pick one, just pick one problem. You can either use one of the examples we just talked about, or you can come up with your own. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that problem and you're going to put it into the template. So you're going to fill this out like a worksheet. So you're going to fill in your problem, you're going to fill in who the customer is and how you're going to solve that problem. So I'll leave this screen up. Any questions? And I'll give you all a few minutes to we'll do maybe 5 minutes. Ryan, do you think that's an okay time?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Okay. Any questions before we get started? Okay. So I'll give you all 5 minutes. We'll check in a few. Okay. Okay, so we're at 5 minutes. Does anyone need a little bit longer? No? Okay, do we want to go ahead and share then? Okay, who wants to go first? And these are all wonderful ideas, and I'm really excited to hear them. So who wants to go first?
I can go first if you want.
Okay, go ahead, Mackenzie.
I did the dog one because I really like dogs. So, for dogs who want to play fetch at any time, the Never Bored toy is a dog toy that allows dogs to chase a catapulted ball when they step on like a platform of the machine. And unlike Chewy.com, our product can adapt to the dog and whatever it wants to do.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's really fun. I feel like a dog would love that so much. Who wants to go next?
Me.
Okay.
All right, so I did problem 3. So I did for my friends or me, who I cannot remember my friend B-Day. The March calendar is a calendar that has my friend's B-Day charted. Unlike me repeatedly forgetting, our Friday is very effective because it's trying, and so I will not forget.
Very good job.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I can go next.
Okay.
I did problem 2, and it's for a bored dog that has nothing really to do. I named the thing the fetcher. It's a good outdoor activity that is a good way to not be bored as a dog. I did not do the unlike though.
That's okay. You don't have to do it. You can skip that one.
Okay. Our project is a good way to keep your dog busy.
Good job. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And girls, will you remind us of your names?
My name's Emma, and I'm Audrey.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Audrey. Good job. Who wants to go next?
Theta, do you feel up for going next?
Sure.
Okay.
So I created my own problem.
Awesome.
So I decided to do for people who play instruments who don't like the taste of wood, the Reedy Delicious is a flavored reed that leaves a fruity taste in your mouth. Unlike tasty reeds, our product provides a more convenient way to have great tasting reeds.
That's a really good idea. Do you have that problem today? Or how do you think of that?
I play the saxophone in our school band. So me and a friend talked about how the reeds leave a really woody taste in your mouth because it's just wood. So if it had a fruity taste, it would taste much better.
That is a very good idea. See,
Super
you just solved a
creative.
problem. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So Cara said she won't be allowed to unmute, but
Okay.
if you want to finish texting the rest of your problem, I can read out your answer. I could do mine real quick. I also came up with my own problem. I said for people who like candy, the sugar box is a subscription box that's super customizable and cheap. Unlike Sugarfina, which is another place you can like buy candy from online. And my idea was that, you know how if any of you have gone to the store after a holiday, like after Halloween or after Valentine's Day, the candy gets super cheap. Maybe they ship out that candy. So it's still fresh, but it's
Oh,
cheaper. So
that's a great idea.
Prisha,
I
do you
love
want to go
candy.
next? Same. If you feel comfortable, Prisha, you could share next. If not, maybe we'll go to Akriti.
Okay, I did the dog one. I don't have a dog, but I think it's very interesting of a problem because so many dogs are alone all the time at home.
Mhm.
So I said 4 dogs who are home by themselves and want to play fetch. It's the Fetcher 2000, and it's a dog toy robot that throws a ball and then has like a drop box so that the dog can like drop the ball off.
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote the competition. I wrote, unlike a human playing fetch, our product runs on its own without humans.
It's awesome.
Right, and I have a tech submission. I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. So it's either Kara or Kara, but for Charlie, or for people who want to lay in bed all day and who want to play basketball at the same time, the product name is Lay in Bed and Play Basketball. And the reason to buy is to be lazy, but not be lazy at the same time. My idea is to get a basketball hoop in your bed and have a machine that can get the basketball and bring it back to you. That's awesome. I like that idea.
Sounds really good. Especially like if you're homesick and you're bored, but you don't feel good and don't want to get up. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, I love it.
Very creative. Is anyone else left that wants to share? And you don't have to share if you don't want to. It's just for fun. Okay. Last call. All right, well, thank you all for sharing. That was fun. Did you feel like you learned something? Did you learn how to be a product manager for a little bit and how to solve some ideas? Yeah? Good. I'm glad to hear that. So that is the end of my presentation. So thank you all so much. I wanted to see, does anyone have any questions or anything that you want to talk about?
What is your favorite part of your job?
I love working with customers, and that's part of why I work at Amazon. Is one of our leadership principles is to be customer obsessed. We talk about customers and we talk with customers all the time. So that's my favorite part of my job, is being able to work with customers. It's really fun. That's how you get the best ideas.
When you were in elementary, middle, and high school, what did you want to do when you were older? What was your dream job?
I wanted to be an astronaut or a teacher. So I am scared of small spaces, so I could not be an astronaut. And I decided not to be a teacher just because I wanted to go into finance. Once I went to college, I really liked finance. I took a class and thought it was really cool. So that's why I decided to go into finance.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And you probably do quite a bit of teaching right now because you're probably teaching people about your ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everyone's a teacher, I've learned. And they're, in one way, you're always learning and you're always teaching other people. I learn from my parents all the time. They are my constant teachers. Any other questions?
You talked a little bit earlier about how important it is that you speak tech or that you can understand tech a little bit. Can you talk more about that? Like if our girls don't go into tech careers, why is knowing about tech useful?
So going back when we were talking about the intersection and really what product management is, this piece here, working with engineers and helping translate what you've heard from customers into technical requirements and a technical design, is really important. So you have to understand what's possible and what's not possible with technology so that you can put together realistic ideas that ultimately will solve the customer problem. So that's why I was talking about some of my peers are software engineers or previous software engineers, because it's really helpful to know how systems work and how things interact together. And even though I don't have that background, I'm still able to understand what the art of the possible is and how I can ensure that what the engineers are building is actually something feasible for our customers to be able to build. So that's why technology and having a technical mindset is really important. And as I was saying earlier, everything today involves technology. And so if you can have that mindset and be able to have those skills, it's just that much more beneficial, because everything's going that way. Everything has technology. Any other questions?
We've got a question from Theta in the chat. What is one of the most interesting or unique problems that a customer told you about?
Oh, that's a good question. So I work with customers of really, really big companies. And so sometimes they have really complex problems and how they want to spend money and how they want to ensure that their engineers have the right solutions. And so um, I hear a lot of times like companies that want to spend a lot of money and they want to find out the best way to be buying the right things using Marketplace. So I'm trying to think of a good example without using, because I can't use any customer names. But a lot of times it's around like how to spend a lot of money and how they can do that in a good, responsible way. So I get a lot of questions about that and solving problems to help companies innovate and do some really cool things.
That would be really interesting having companies kind of be your customers, not individual people, because they would be looking to spend more money. So it's like more significant, I guess, like what the solutions are going to end up being.
Yeah, especially around healthcare. That's where obviously with COVID, companies are looking at how they can solve these huge problems that impact our day-to-day lives. And so helping companies figure out how to use technology to solve those problems is huge. That's a good question, Theta. Thank you.
So what do you do when a customer comes to you with a problem and you don't know where to start? How do you figure that out?
So I like to use, it's called the 5 whys. And so you ask a customer why they need that problem solved. And then you ask again, like, okay, you say let's do an example. Let's say that you're trying to solve a fetch toy. Your dog, or you're an owner of a dog, that might be easier. And you're trying to figure out why the dog is bored. So you'd ask, well, why is the dog bored? Well, the dog's bored because I'm at school all day. Well, why are you at school all day? Because my schedule's full. Well, why is your schedule full? Well, my schedule's full because I'm taking too many classes. Why are you taking too many classes? I'm taking too many classes because I feel like I need to do 2 majors. So you see how you kind of drill down and you ask why over and over and over again. And so the problem isn't necessarily, as a dog owner, my dog's bored. The problem is I'm taking too many classes and I need to refocus. So that's one way that when there's a problem that you don't know how to solve, sometimes you need to make sure you're solving the right problem before you even try to figure out how to solve it. Because most of the time, you're looking at the wrong thing. Another thing with being a product manager is most of the time, there's a lot of other product managers you work with, and they're trying to solve problems too. So if there's a problem I can't solve, or it's not within my responsibility or ownership to solve, I get to work with one of my other product managers and bring them in and work with them and collaborate and figure out how we can solve the problem. So it's a lot of teamwork and a lot of working together. So that makes it really fun. All very good questions. Such a sharp bunch. Any other questions?
I'm curious if you found it difficult at all being a woman in technology, or do you find that it's been getting better and there's more female product managers? How does that play a role in your job?
Yeah, so Amazon is a really diverse company, and there's a lot of resources to make sure that there's a good inclusive environment, not only for women, but individuals of color and different backgrounds. So I personally have not had a lot of feeling of a lot of difficulty being a woman in the field. A lot of my team, a lot of the other product managers are women. So it just really depends. I will say a lot of engineers, there's still not a ton of female engineers, but in product, there's a lot of females. So it really just depends. And you just have to be very confident and comfortable in who you are and know that you're smart and you are just as capable as the next person, no matter what your gender is, what your background is. Like, you are amazing and you're smart and you can do it. So you just have to maintain that mentality, because it's true. Like, you all are here and you're so smart. You can do anything you put your mind to.
That's such lovely advice. We usually do ask our speakers towards the end to give our girls some sort of advice, and I think you really hit it home right there that you each all bring so many talents and you bring so much to every situation. You're all very talented, smart individuals.
Yeah, and everyone's different, and that's what makes us wonderful, and that's why you get to bring all those special things about you to your classmates, to your family. Like, that's why you are you, and that's why you're wonderful. So glad you all are here. Cool. Any other questions? Anything you all want to talk about? Okay. Well, this was so fun. I really liked getting to meet you all and hear your ideas. I hope you learned a little bit about product management and what we do at Amazon when we're building products. If you have any questions or if you need anything, just let Ryan know and she can reach out to me.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I loved that activity. That was really fun.
Good.
So thanks for chatting with us, Murphy.
Yeah, all
Yeah, that
such
was
fun
wonderful.
ideas.
That was really wonderful. We appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. And if you girls like this event and you want to hear more speakers, next Sunday we'll be doing another one. Her name's Natalie, and she'll be talking about oceanography. So stuff related to marine wildlife and how that involves coding. So if that sounds interesting to you, hop on next Sunday. But thank you again, Murphy. We really appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Of course. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.